Summary. I used to be really close friends with Kay, until I started getting closer to Laura. That caused some distance between us. When I started dating Laura, Kay got really upset and began spreading rumors, saying we were already together before I broke up with her and that I was lying. The gossip started to spread around school, and Laura was upset too, but she always believed me. I tried to explain the situation, but things got complicated. I've never felt so alone in my entire life, and the girl that I have the biggest crush on doesn't reciprocate. I'm honestly so lonely, and nothing can help it. I'm religious, just as a fact, and I've prayed and prayed and prayed that God do something about it, but nothing ever happens. It's honestly the worst feeling I've ever felt because I can be with my family or with my friends, and I'll just feel so alone. I don't know how I can fix it. I don't even know if I want a relationship or not. I have two friends. We'll call friend 1 JJ and the other we'll call K. So, Kay and I are best friends of the opposite sex, and I've had a crush on her for almost 2 years. I've already admitted it to her once before falling out of contact, and then, once we got back into contact, those feelings resurfaced. It hurts to even be around her. Then there's JJ, also a girl. She's a year older than me, and I have this feeling that she likes me. She gives me signs, then she doesn't. She's apparently not okay with physical touch, but will touch me, not in an inappropriate way, but she'll grab me by my wrist when taking me somewhere, or pull on my uniform blazer, or she'll hit me when I annoy her or when we throw a bit of banter. Both of them are super nice, sweet, kind, beautiful, lovely people, and I can't help but stare at either of them and start overthinking everything they do. Then, on top of that, I have absolutely no social life outside of school whatsoever, and it sucks to the fullest. I doubt either of them, JJ or K, have any feelings for me, and it honestly hurts me so much. I'm already dealing with my own mental health issues, and then there's this. I don't want to be alone, but every time I'm in a bad mood or upset, I get snappy, and I'll get annoyed so easily. I don't want to hurt the people around me. I don't know what to do with my life, and to be wholly honest, I just want to disappear and start over with everything. I just want to feel content with my life, and I always feel so let down by everything and everyone, even though I know God won't ever let me down. It still feels like nothing is happening when I'm doing exactly what I think is right. If you have advice, you can share it. I just wanted to vent. I know this probably won't last long, but maybe it will. I don't know. I just don't want to feel the way I do. Update 1. After so much time of waiting and insecurity, I finally decided to speak to Kay. The words were stuck in my throat, but I knew I couldn't keep carrying that weight anymore. I couldn't stay quiet, consumed by wanting to say what I felt. So, one day, after a peaceful moment we had, I hesitantly said to her, "Kay, there's something I need to tell you. Something that's been bothering me for a long time. I like you. I don't know how you're going to react, but, yeah, I feel something for you. I know we're friends and all, but I can't hide it anymore." I could see that, as I spoke, she was trying to process my words. She stayed silent for a few seconds, and that made me feel the weight of every second that passed without a response. Then, finally, she spoke. "Look, I didn't know that. And I really care about you a lot, but not in the way you're talking about. You're a really important friend to me, but I don't see you like that. I'm sorry." Her words hit me like a sharp blade to the chest. I didn't know what to say. What do you say after something like that? I was in shock, my heart racing. "Oh," was all I could respond. My mind was in turmoil, trying to process the pain of rejection, trying to stay calm, but I couldn't. I wanted the ground to open up and swallow me whole. She looked at me with a sad expression, almost as if she knew how much it hurt me. And with a forced smile, she added, "I hope this doesn't change our friendship because you're such a great friend to me, and I don't want to lose that." I just nodded, trying to keep my composure. But inside, I was crushed. The rejection, the pain, and the sense of loneliness overwhelmed me in a way I didn't know how to handle. "Of course," I murmured, my voice barely audible. I tried to force a smile, but it didn't work. I knew that from that moment on, things would never be the same. Our friendship might continue, but for me, something would change. I knew I would never look at things the same way again. What I felt for her wouldn't go away, but now I'd have to learn how to deal with it. The conversation ended a bit cold, but without any fights. She didn't want to hurt me, And I knew that, but there was no denying the pain I was feeling. I walked away from there, my heart in pieces, but with a sense of relief, maybe, for finally having expressed what I had inside me. I just didn't know if I could move on. Update 2. A few weeks had passed since that conversation with Kay, and despite my attempt to move on, things hadn't been easy. She kept being the same nice, fun, and supportive person, but something had changed inside me. The pain of rejection didn't disappear, but I tried my best to hide it. Our interactions became a little awkward, and I knew I couldn't get as close to her as I had before. That's when I started to notice something. Kay was getting involved with other guys. At first, I didn't think much about it, but soon I realized she seemed to be switching interests every week. First, it was a guy from our class, then another from a different group. She threw herself into these relationships wholeheartedly, even if they only lasted a short time, and it always seemed like she grew further away from me. I didn't know if it hurt me more or if it just bothered me seeing how easily she seemed to forget what had happened between us. I tried convincing myself it didn't matter. After all, we were nothing more than friends. But every time she got involved with another guy, something inside me closed off a little more. The feeling that I had just been another discarded attempt consumed me. That's when, at a weekend party, I met a girl named Laura. She was with a group of friends I barely knew, but something about her caught my attention. She had a contagious laugh and a curious look that made anyone want to talk to her. Even though my mind was still on Kay, I couldn't help but feel like Laura was different. We talked for hours that night. I've never been great with new people, but with her, it was easy. Laura seemed genuinely interested in me, and for the first time in a long time, I felt something that wasn't pain or frustration. She told me about her life, her interests, and her dreams so openly and sincerely that, little by little, I felt at ease. I even caught myself laughing, something I hadn't done in a long time. As the days went by, I started spending more time with Laura. It wasn't planned, but she was beginning to become a constant presence in my thoughts. There was something light and natural about the way she saw life. Unlike Kay, who always seemed to be searching for something intense and fleeting, Laura was calm and knew what she wanted. I didn't know if she was just being friendly or if there was something more there, but either way, what charmed me the most was how I felt like myself around her, without the weight of expectation or pain. Meanwhile, Kay continued to get involved with other guys, and in a way, I began to accept it. I saw that she wasn't concerned about what we had anymore, if anything ever really happened between us. I, on the other hand, was changing as well. Not that I was completely healed from the rejection, but Laura made me realize that life wasn't just about Kay, or the feelings I still had for her. One night, after a long day of laughing with Laura and her friends, she stopped me before I left and, with a shy smile, asked, "Hey, would you like to go out for dinner with me tomorrow?" I was thinking, we could go out, just the two of us. No rush, no pressure, just to hang out for a bit. I froze for a moment, surprised by the invitation. I hadn't expected her to take that step, but I couldn't help but smile. "Sure, that would be great," I replied, feeling a good kind of anticipation for the first time in a long while. That night, as I lay in bed, my thoughts still wandered to Kay, but something inside me told me it was time to let the past go. Laura had brought me a sense of peace, something I wasn't sure I'd ever feel again. Maybe, finally, life was giving me a chance to start over. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Update 3. As the weeks went by, things between Laura and I began to flow naturally. We went out for dinner, as we had planned, and that day something changed inside me. The weight I had been carrying for so long, related to Kay, started to fade away. Laura was different. She wasn't part of that whirlwind of unreturned feelings I had been living in, and with her, I could breathe for real. Little by little, our relationship grew. Laura and I became inseparable. We talked about everything, laughed at the same things, and when we were together, the world felt lighter. I never imagined that meeting someone like her, so simple and genuine, would make me feel so comfortable. However, as expected, the news that I was dating spread quickly among our friends. And, of course, Kay didn't take long to find out. One afternoon, Kay sent me a message. I was with Laura at the park, enjoying her company, when my phone buzzed. Kay's name appeared on the screen, and before I could ignore the message, it came with all its emotional weight. "So now you're with her, huh? Pretty quick for someone who said they liked me." I didn't know you'd forget everything so easily. The message hit me like a punch to the stomach. I knew she would react this way, but I wasn't prepared for how much it affected me. I took a deep breath and showed Lara, who immediately noticed the tension on my face. I started, trying to find the right words. Kay is complaining that I'm with you now. She doesn't really understand, I think. Lara looked at me with her usual gentle smile, the one she always gave me when she knew I was uncomfortable. She touched my arm and said softly, "Don't worry about it. If she really cares about you, she'll understand. But don't let this get to you. We're fine, and that's what matters." I smiled, feeling a little more relieved, but still uneasy. How should I deal with Kay? I wanted to be kind and transparent with her, but the truth was, I was also tired of carrying that weight. Kay had pulled away from me many times, and now, seeing me with someone else, it seemed like she wanted to make everything about her again. In the following days, Kay started to pressure me more directly. She sent constant messages and called me non-stop, asking why I had started dating so quickly and how I could do that when she was still so present in my life. She didn't understand, or maybe just couldn't accept, that I had already given my best in our friendship and that, in the end, I needed to move on. I thought we had something, and now you're with her, so easily? Like I was just another phase. I'm your friend, it shouldn't be like this. Those words echoed in my mind for days. I knew I needed to talk to her, explain once and for all that my relationship with Lara had nothing to do with what had happened between us. But no matter how much I tried, conversations with Kay always ended in frustration. I wanted to be honest, but she seemed more and more possessive, like she still wanted something I couldn't give her anymore. I didn't know how to handle it. One day, Kay showed up at school and pulled me aside during break. She was visibly upset, and her tone was accusatory. "How could you do this to me? How can you be with someone else so quickly after everything we've been through? You were so clear about how you felt about me, and now it seems like you've completely forgotten about me." I looked into her eyes, trying to understand the pain she was feeling, but at the same time, I couldn't ignore how she was invading my life again. I knew Kay wasn't being fair to Lara, and certainly not to me. "Kay, I haven't forgotten you, and I never will forget what we shared, but I can't keep living in the past. I found someone who makes me feel good now. I'm not with Lara to hurt you, but to move on. You need to understand that." She stayed silent for a moment, staring at me as if she was waiting for me to say more. When she finally spoke, her voice was quieter but still filled with anger. "I won't accept this. You used me to get through that phase, and now you're with her? I won't let you replace me that easily, you know?" I felt a weight in my chest, but also a sense of relief. I knew I had made the right decision, but it still hurt to hear that from Kay. She was looking for something I couldn't offer anymore, and while that hurt, I knew it was time to move on, not just with Lara, but with my own life. "I'm not trying to replace you, Kay. I'm just trying to live my life. I hope one day you'll understand that." I walked away from her, leaving the conversation unfinished. I didn't know if she would ever understand, but I was tired of trying to please everyone at once. I had made my choice, and now, with Lara by my side, I just wanted to move forward. Update 4. In the following days, the situation became increasingly tense. Kay seemed to be in a constant state of frustration and jealousy. She couldn't accept the idea of seeing me with Lara, and it seemed to consume her. I knew it was only a matter of time before she sought out Lara to vent, or in Kay's case, demand an explanation. And that's exactly what happened. I was with Lara at a cafe, talking about how things were going well between us, when suddenly, Kay appeared at the door. She looked even more irritated than usual, and without saying a word, she walked straight to our table. I tried to prepare myself for what was coming, but something inside me already knew that a confrontation was inevitable. Lara noticed the tension on my face and looked over at Kay, who was standing there, almost waiting for a reaction. "Kay, what's going on?" Lara asked calmly, trying to understand the situation. Kay took a deep breath, and with a piercing gaze, she spoke. "So this is how it is, huh? I'm finally ready to talk to you. You stole my man, Lara. There's no other way to put it." Lara's shock was immediate, and I was speechless for a moment. I knew Kay had a hard time dealing with my decision to move on, but I never imagined she would go this far. Lara, without losing her composure, looked directly into Kay's eyes and responded, "Kay, I never meant to hurt you." Alan and I grew closer because we started liking each other, not because he wanted to replace you or anything like that. It wasn't personal. Kay let out a bitter laugh, as if she had heard the most absurd thing in the world. Not personal. It wasn't personal to you, but it was to me. Alan and we had something, you know? And now you're here, acting like he's a toy that you picked up just because you can. He's not yours to take, Laura. And you have no right to do that. I could tell Laura was trying to keep calm, but I also knew that the confrontation was beyond what she expected. I needed to step in, but I wasn't sure how to do it without causing more pain. "Kay, I'm not anyone's property," I said, interrupting. "Honestly, I've tried to be clear with you. I respect you, and I'll always respect what we had, but I've made my decision. I'm with Laura now. There's no more to discuss." Kay looked at me, her eyes full of anger and sadness. She seemed to not believe what she was hearing. "So that's it? You're just going to leave me behind like I'm nothing? I'm your friend, you should be honest with me. You used me, and now you're with her, not even caring about what this means to me." Laura, who was still trying to be patient, responded again. "We're not trying to hurt you, Kay. But you need to understand that Alan has the right to move on. He doesn't have to stay stuck in the past, just like you shouldn't expect him to stay out of pity or obligation. We like each other, and just because you can't understand that doesn't mean we should break up." Kay shook her head, as if she couldn't accept that. She took a step back, her gaze still fixed on Laura. "So that's how it is." I stepped back because I thought we had something worth keeping, and now, because of you, all of it is falling apart. I won't let this continue. If you really care about him, you'll let him go, and you'll get out of his life. I demand that you break up with him. Isn't that what you want? He's not yours. The tension in the air became unbearable. I looked at Laura, and she seemed uncomfortable, but wasn't willing to give in. I knew what Kay was asking for was irrational, but I wasn't sure if Laura could handle so much pressure. "Kay, this isn't fair to anyone. Not to you, not to me, not to her," I said, trying to calm the situation. "We're not forcing you to do anything. I'm just asking that you give us space to live." Kay looked at me one last time, her eyes blazing with anger. She took a deep breath, as if she had made up her mind to end the conversation. "I'm not going to stay here listening to you and your new girlfriend. I won't watch this from the sidelines. I'll step away, but you'll lose me, Alan. You'll see what happens to your life." Without waiting for a response, Kay turned and stormed out of the cafe in a rage. The atmosphere became heavy, and the silence that followed was almost unbearable. Laura looked at me, a bit surprised and confused. You knew she was going to do this, didn't you?" she asked, trying to understand the situation. I nodded, not knowing what more to say. I knew Kay wouldn't accept my choice, but I never imagined she would behave this way. The worst part was knowing that, despite time and clear feelings, Kay still wasn't ready to let go of the past. "I knew she was going to react like this, but not like this," I replied. "I just don't know how to help her anymore. I've made my choice, and I can't go back." Laura took my hand gently, and without saying anything, she just looked into my eyes. I knew this wasn't over yet, but in that moment, with her by my side, I felt like maybe we could move forward. Update 5. In the following days after our confrontation at the cafe, the situation became more and more tense. I knew Kay wouldn't just accept me moving on, but what happened next was worse than I could have imagined. She started spreading rumors all over school, and things quickly spiraled out of control. At first, I tried to ignore it. I knew Kay was hurt, and I figured she was just trying to make me look like the villain. But soon I realized that the gossip was starting to affect everyone, even people who barely knew me. I started hearing whispers in the hallways, looks of suspicion, and even some people approaching me with intrusive questions. I was confronted by a few friends who, instead of supporting me, were more interested in knowing about the rumors Kay was spreading. "So, Alan, are you and Laura already together before you broke up with Kay? Because people are saying you were secretly dating," one of my friends asked with a sarcastic smile on his face. I was shocked. How could Kay make up a story like that? How could she twist the reality in such a cruel way? "That's not true," I replied, trying to stay calm. Kay is spreading lies. Lara and I only started getting close after I ended things with her. There's no secret between us. My friend shrugged, clearly not buying my words. Right. But that's what everyone's saying. You know how these things go, right? That's when I realized how far Kay's lie had already spread. I knew it wasn't going to be easy to clear things up, but I never imagined Kay would go this far to try to sabotage me. It was getting frustrating to watch the image she was painting of me spread all over school. The worst part was when Lara approached me, clearly upset. Alan, I've heard what people are saying, and I know you haven't lied to me, but this is getting tough. Everyone's talking, and I don't want to be seen as the one who ruined your friendship with Kay. That's not what happened, and you know that. I felt a pang in my chest seeing her like this. Lara was getting dragged into all of this, and she had no part in it. Kay's anger, the gossip, it was becoming an unbearable weight on both of us. I know this is hard for you, Lara, I said, trying to calm her down. I don't know how she came up with these lies, but we can't let this affect us. What we have is real, and I won't let Kay destroy that. I can't let her make me out to be the bad guy. Lara looked into my eyes, a mix of sadness and understanding in her expression. I know, Alan. I know you didn't lie to me. But things are getting so complicated. I don't know what to do anymore. How do we deal with this? I took a deep breath, trying to find a solution. The truth was, I had no idea what to do. I couldn't control what Kay was doing, but one thing was certain. I wasn't going to let it break me. I knew how I felt about Lara, and I wouldn't let anything or anyone come between us. But at the same time, I didn't want Lara to feel bad about something that wasn't her fault. I tried to gather my strength and said, Lara, we can't control what Kay is doing, but we can control what we feel for each other. The lies will fade, people will see they don't make sense, but we need to stay strong and not let this affect us. I'm with you, and that's all that matters. She took my hand, her eyes filled with emotion, but still with a worried look. I know, Alan, but why is she doing this? Why is she trying to destroy what we have? I didn't have an answer. I couldn't explain what was going on in Kay's mind. I just knew that she was stuck in a sense of revenge, a desperate attempt to make me feel guilty for something I didn't do. In the end, all that was left for us was to keep facing the lies. I knew Kay wasn't going to stop, and that, somehow, she would keep trying to tear us apart. But I wouldn't let her win. Lara and I knew what we had, and that was stronger than any gossip or lie. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel.